Mayor Zach, welcome back. Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. As we're recording this, less than ideal conditions outside, so here we are in the office. No fun field trips today, but not to make light of the situation, there's really nobody having any fun field trips or anything right now with the situation that's going on here. Give us just an update of what, I know you just got done with your meeting. What is the city of Wisconsin Rapids doing at this time to prepare in the event that you do have to do some sort of lockdown or things like that regarding the COVID-19 coronavirus?
Sure, great question. Well, welcome to those that are catching this update. Wish we would have been outside in more ideal conditions, but it's a great opportunity to talk about what the city of Wisconsin Rapids as an employer we're doing. Certainly the health and safety of the people that work for the city are our primary concern, and making sure that our workplaces have the practices and procedures and policies in place to ensure that our employees are not concerned, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that are of concern. Let's say someone has to be in quarantine, or their child has to be in quarantine, or any of those types of things. So we're reviewing our policies to make sure our sick leave policies are in order and such that people are accommodated for in the case that they may not be able to come to work. We want to also make sure people are not coming to work if they're having flu-like symptoms, so they're staying home. But we've also pulled all of departments together, from public safety to our Lowell Center, to Lowell Senior Center, as well as the library, to discuss our strategies as it relates to dealing with some of the main events that we've got planned. So we're looking at the schedule 4 to 6 weeks out to say, what are some events that from a social distancing standpoint, what are events that we don't necessarily want to carry out because we're expecting large crowds? Our library and our senior center are two such facilities where there are large convenings of vulnerable populations, folks that are 65 and older that may have an underlying health condition. And so we want to make sure we're not creating an invitation for folks to come together in a situation where they might become exposed. But certainly we're watching the situation nationally and locally. I continue to get briefings from our health department so that way I'm up to speed so we can respond appropriately as necessary to various facilities. We're also looking at our policies as it relates to the essential personnel we have at City Hall and across our operations, to make sure that should we need to send folks home or work from home situation in the case that it's possible, that we've got our technology in order and the like. So, communication is key up front. It was key when I worked through the windstorm last July, and this is another case that we're making sure we're prepared at the city level for this.
So for somebody like you, obviously, very, very public-facing position, if you did have to work from home, what would that entail for somebody like you? I mean,
I don't know. I can't imagine having to work from home. I mean, yeah, I can do a lot of things via technology. I think we can, but we know that we only reach a certain number of people through various channels. So as mayor, yeah, I'm multi-channel, where I have to be on all sorts of mediums at any given time. But this has forced us to look at things a little bit differently. Certainly, if I had to self-quarantine, that would be a whole different situation. And I hope that I don't get in a situation. I'm healthy, I'm happy, all those good things. So I think that, I'm not too worried. But again, we have to raise our level of awareness to make sure that we're not adding to more of the concern. I keep hearing reports in town where people are going out and buying a lot of supplies and things. And I just encourage people to be smart about that, because if you are adding to your consumption, it may be taking away the availability of hand sanitizer and other health products, cleaning products from someone else. So just be reasonable and acquire as much as you need for your own personal case. But I also encourage people to look out for their friend and neighbor. There are folks that don't leave their house very often, so obviously they're not as likely to come into contact with somebody or be exposed to the virus, but to be smart to maybe check on those folks and make sure that their emotional well-being and concern is just as important as their physical well-being and concern as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just reach out. You never know how much something like that can mean. Just coming over and, as long as you're healthy, having a cup of coffee, playing cards with somebody. Obviously, that's part of being a community.
That's right. And I think one other piece that we're looking at this impact from is there are a lot of folks in our community and across the country that are temporary or part-time workers where they're not afforded some sick leave benefits. And this is a concern for folks as they're looking to provide for their families and keep a shelter over their head, that the city may consider exploring moratoriums on evictions. I know we're under a moratorium as it relates to shut off of utilities and that type of thing now. But depending on how long this prolongs, that's something that I'm also concerned about, because folks that are really income secure, that don't necessarily have the means or the savings to pay for their bills in the case that they might be sent home from work for an extended period of time, is a concern of mine.
And how would something like that go through? Would that be a declaration from the city council?
Yeah, most likely would require action by the city council. And you know, there are preemptions that cities have where we're preempted from taking certain actions, but again, it's something that we're just monitoring and considering at this point. It's too early to tell if we would go to that level. You know, we don't want to overreact, because that sort of adds to sometimes the hysteria, but at least this point, to be thinking in a lot of facets about how this affects the lives of people in Wisconsin Rapids.
And of course, there was the address by the president to the nation last week. There was last week we also had the declaration from Governor Evers that this is going to be a health emergency. All these steps are being taken so we don't have what's gone on in Italy, where we've had entire states and entire cities basically under lockdown. Nobody comes in, nobody goes out to prevent the spread of this. I know that's one area that's been particularly hit hard. Have you considered, if it gets to that point yet, you know, to the extremes of maybe what would the police force needs be, and how would you keep everybody in the city safe that way?
Well, it's interesting because our public safety is working in every condition that exists, both police and fire departments. And so I know they're looking at their supply rooms. That was a concern that was discussed, was whether or not we've got enough supplies to get us through a period of time. You know, fortunately, the Midwest and Wisconsin have not seen a major outbreak like they've seen on the West and East Coast, but we have to be prepared to make sure that we've got enough supplies and resources to provide the services that we do. But also thinking about how do we keep our people safe, that if they're dealing with someone like it was seen out in Washington State, where first responders and paramedics came into contact with infected individuals. And so how do we continue to be prepared to quarantine folks that might be on our staff? So that was a point that we talked about. Some cities are using hotel rooms and having a block set aside, so in the case that they may need to quarantine and keep them away from the firehouse, not sending them back home to their families to continue to infect other people or expose other people potentially. That's a concern as well.
Yeah, and we'll certainly hope that you know, this all blows over in a few months, and this is just nothing more than a blip on what will be an otherwise, you know, very good year. We'll hope that that's next time we talk, we'll maybe have some of this in the past. But of course, it's good to know that you're prepared. If you know, this is still something that needs to be addressed a month or so down the road, because we promised off camera we weren't going to talk entirely about the coronavirus. So now we'll move on and talk about some of the economic development and the quality of life projects that we've been touching on, because obviously it's going to be pool season here pretty soon. Not right now, but eventually it will be. So let us know how things are going in the construction of the new outdoor aquatic center.
Sure. So as we make our way, hopefully, into, and like the last piece, hope isn't a strategy, but let's hope that hope can be a case in this situation. We know we're going to get more snow, at least as we go into the rest of March and into early April. But we are making progress on the various projects within the city. The aquatic center development at Witter Field complex is going very well. Most of the interior work has been complete. The painting, the finished work, the fixtures, the doors, the flooring, all of those pieces have been laid, mostly in the bathhouse building, have been complete. So that's really exciting. I know we took our youth council through there and they were just blown away by the progress and the colors and the energy in that building. So that project continues to be on schedule and on pace. Let's hope again for an early spring because there's a lot of projects that are waiting for outdoor curb and gutter, sidewalk, as well as asphalt. And so that as long as the daytime temperatures get up there and we get some dry spells, then contractors can start mobilizing to do some of those activities. So that's really with the aquatic center development. Rates have been set. We're working through behind the scenes some of the staffing pieces. I know we get a lot of questions from people. What about my son or daughter who may want to work there over the summer? Well, we are hosting, we've scheduled some trainings for people to get up to date on their lifeguarding skill set, their first aid, their pool certification. So that information can be found on the city's website, wirapids.org, or through the HR page or human resources page. It's also on the city's Facebook page. I know I shared a link out last week as well, because it's been a hot topic. You know, we're going to be employing a fair amount of summer help, young people at various roles, and if folks, if they're looking for a casual summer job, there'll be folks for adults too, work for adults too. So I really encourage people to check that out. obviously the further we get closer to June, the more excited we are as the pool gets ready to open for the first time.
And then the YMCA facility, we were in it last time around. Yeah. We got a nice little tour of the inside. I can only imagine the facility's probably just about ready for folks to get in there and get that first workout in to work on the summer pool bod, right?
That's right. So that the exterior of the building, the facade, as well as the interior spaces, as we saw when we toured it, were nearing complete then, and they are actually at substantial completion. So it's pretty exciting. Unfortunate part, again, because of the weather in November, they didn't get their asphalt and the curb and gutter down in order for them to open on time, which would have been about this time frame in March. That they would have been able to turn over the keys and open the facility. So we'll have to wait until, now they're saying June for the facility to open, but it's a beautiful site at night. It's a great looking redevelopment during the day, and the interior spaces, as we showed our listeners, were beautiful on the inside at the stage we saw them. I encourage people to check out the YMCA and Boys and Girls Club's Facebook pages as they continue to share progress photos out there, and it's really exciting. I know they're starting to do some marketing communication to invite people to consider a membership to the project. I know that they're emphasizing their membership for all program, which means that they won't turn anybody away, anybody that wants to be a member of the YMCA. Certainly our Boys and Girls Club will continue to provide a very affordable memberships to youth that are looking for youth engagement before or after school. And certainly the neat part is those kids get to access the YMCA's services and facilities right adjacent to the Boys and Girls Club.
And of course, this all means that the old YMCA building on, correct me if I'm wrong, is Pepper
That's
Avenue,
right, yeah,
correct?
Good memory, yeah.
That's going to be vacant.
That's right.
Here pretty soon. I know you've been talking, you've maybe talked with some developers that put up new townhomes in that area as well. Any idea yet what's going to happen with the former building once this new one does fully come online here in the next couple of months?
It's a great question. We've been having conversations even before the schedule of the closure of that facility or even what the YMCA might be doing with it. The YMCA hasn't officially decided what their plans are with the property, but we fully anticipate that the Y will evaluate that and realize that they're not going to operate it as a YMCA satellite like they do today, so it'll be available in a different capacity. But like them and many other projects around the city, the winters afforded us some opportunity to connect with potential investors and developers. I know the city's projects downtown over the course of the winter, developers were starting to put their pipeline together for 2020 and 2021. So we're really looking forward to a number of redevelopments, some along A Street this summer, some downtown in the Riverfront District, as well as some of those kind of scattered sites like the YMCA project throughout the city. I know the industrial park site with the Metalco project, it's been amazing to see their progress, and we'll have to get back out there as the weather permits for a future update.
Yep.
But we continue to market the spaces out there, and as mayor, it's really important for us to continue to make sure that developers and investors know that these sites exist, because there's a lot of places where people can invest and do business. But fortunately, with the strength of the economy in our area, in our town, people are looking to invest here, recognizing that new housing has added new residents, and along with new residents comes new incomes.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting.
All part of that big puzzle that you've got to put together on a daily basis.
That's right.
At City Hall, right?
Yep, that's right. Especially when we're not dealing with issues like the coronavirus or COVID-19 like we talk. I mean, it's just very dynamic as the position. You come into the office in a day and you expect to work on certain things, and sometimes you've got days where you got to take on a few new things, which is part of the dynamic nature of being an effective mayor.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate the time here today. Again, we'll look forward to possibly chatting again next month and down the road as well.
Sounds good, Michael. Thank you.